Hello everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the new Cthonian Beserks. Yes, here they are. They're awesome, I love them. I think they're my favourite unit in the book. They look absolutely fantastic, just epic, really, really cool. And they were sent to me early by Games Workshop, so a massive thank you to them for sending them through for me to paint up for all of you, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing. They've been primed in grey cyan. I'm going to be painting them in the same colours as the Greater Thurian League, with a little bit of a twist because these are going to be painted in my own league colours. So we have a splash of yellow in there as well. However, if you're painting the Greater Thurian League, you'll find this video very useful. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop them to one side, and we're going to focus on just a couple of them, or rather one or two at a time, but we're going to be doing all of it across all of them until we get to the uniqueness that is this one with the mold launcher. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on this one first, and the colour we're going to be using is Kroxigor Scales. We're going to be applying this to the trousers on our Cthonian Beserks. So I'm just going to load up our brush here, and we're going to start painting this over the top of the trousers, just like this. So with that Kroxigor Scales applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Terradon Turquoise. I'm going to apply this over the top . So with that Terradon Turquoise applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. We're going to apply this to all of our, well, black details. Now on these Cthonian Beserks, this will include areas such as this little thigh pad. Like that. It'll include the knees and the boots as well. Any gloves that they are wearing. There's the occasional glove here or there. Like so. And we're going to use this to paint in any of the smooth cables as well. And if you have them, the casings on the weapons. Now for example, you've got the heavy plasma axes, you would be doing this with the whole of the blade's weapon housing. However, on these mass hammers or concussion mauls, so many words. What we're going to do is we're going to pick out this bottom area here, like this. Like that. And we're also going to pick out kind of handle housing. So we got this kind of little bit here. we've got this little bit up here. So with all of that Black Legion applied, what we're now going to do is going to take some Cygor Brown. We're going to apply this to all of our remaining leather details. So this is going to include areas such as the belt, any kind of straps that they've got over the shoulders, as well as any of the little wristbands some of them are wearing. So with that Cygor Brown applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Imperial Fist, but we're going to caveat this just slightly. Because what we are in fact going to do is we're going to take that Imperial Fist and we're going to apply it to this one's backpack. We're going to leave his tummy armour as the white. This is his link to the Great Arthurian League. In addition, later on, we're not going to be doing the Imperial Fist on the Ironkin here either. We're going to be painting this as a Great Arthurian League Ironkin. And this is just kind of part of the scheme. Trust me, it looks cool. So, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to pop this one to one side for the moment, and we're actually going to work on this one. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take that Imperial Fist and we're going to apply it over the rest of the armour. So for example, on this guy, I'm just going to apply this over the top of the tummy. Like that. Over the top of this plate just down here. And over the top of the backpack housing. And with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take that Briar Queen Chill. I'm going to use this over the top of the, what will be pale white green armour. You could do this on the Ironkin at this point as well if you wanted to, but we're leaving that to the end. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to start working on the flesh. Now we're going to be doing 5 different recipes here for all of our Cthonian Beserks. And well, the first one we're going to do is Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to be applying this over the top of this particular person and their skin. So with that Guilliman Flesh applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Fyreslayer Flesh. I'm going to use that on the skin of this one. Where to begin? So with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to apply this over the top of the flesh on this gentleman. So with that done, we've got 3 of our base coats down on the flesh. So the next one we're going to do is Garaghak Sewer. We'll be applying it all over the flesh of this individual. So with that Garaghak Sewer applied, we've got one more to do, and that's this one. And the colour we're going to be using for this is Catachan Flesh, which isn't a contrast paint. You'll be shocked to hear. We're just going to paint this all over the top of all of the skin. So with all of those 5 flesh colours applied, what we're now going to do is we are going to shade it. We're not doing a full shading part here yet because we haven't done all the metallics, but on all of the flesh, we've got various little plugs and things like that, which we'll want to do with a metallic. However, if we wait until we've done that to then do the shading on the flesh, it just makes our job a little bit harder. So we're going to do that shading now. And the colour we're going to be using on all of them is Reikland Fleshshade. No ifs, no buts. So we're just going to grab that Reikland Fleshshade on our brush and we're just start applying it over the top of all 5 of our flesh recipes. So with that Reikland Fleshshade applied to all of those skin recipes, what we're now going to do is, in a similar vein to that, we're going to shade all of the yellow. And the colour we're going to be using for that is Casandora Yellow. And the reason, again, for this is because we've got some metallic details on the yellow. So we're going to just get that done now so that we can get those metallics done nice and simply. So I'm going to grab that Casandora Yellow on our brush. I'm going to demonstrate it on this individual just here. I'm just going to get this over the top of all the yellow. Just like that. So with that Casandora Yellow applied, what we can now do is take some Flesh Tearers Red and we're going to use this over the top of the soft grips on the weapons. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we use this to pretty much colour in all of our remaining details. The only kind of areas of non-silverness are the central part of the hammer here and this little section here and the belt loop or the strap loop, if they have them on the hammers. Not all of them have them, you see. But otherwise, we're going to colour in everywhere else with the Iron Warriors. Just like this. So with that Iron Warriors all applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Runelord Brass and we're going to apply this to that central part of the hammer. Like that. And we're also going to apply this to that belt loop thing. So with that done, the only thing left to do is their hair and beards. Now, rather than kind of doing 5 different ones, we're just going to be using 2 colours here to do this and alternating between them. And the 2 colours we're going to be using are Basilicanum Grey and Wyldwood. But of course you could use any colours you wanted here. Just don't use the same kind of brown on these guys if you're going to use a brown for their beards and hair. So what we're going to do, we're just going to very carefully now take some Basilicanum Grey or some Wyldwood. I'm going to apply this over the top of the hair and beards. So with that done, it is now time to add our last few shades to the model to get it up to that War Hipster battle ready level. And the first one we're going to add is Drakenhof Nightshade. And we're going to be using this over the top of all the silver and all the black details. Just like this. And so with that Drakenhof Nightshade applied to all those silver and black details, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this over the top of the Runelord Brass. So with that done, our Cthonian Beserks are now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready, excluding that Ironkin assistant there, but don't worry, we're going to get to him towards the end. So what we are in fact going to do is we are going to take them to the next level, and we do this by adding some layers and some highlights. The first one we're going to add is Deepkin Flesh. Now we're going to be adding this first and foremost to this gentleman. I'm going to be adding this over the top of all of his armour. So we're just going to be using this to basically relayer here, just avoiding anywhere where the shade has really settled. And this is pretty much the Great Arthurian League scheme right here. I'm going to pick out areas such as the little rivet. And then on the main body, we're just going to add the Deepkin Flesh like this. And it might take a couple of coats because Deepkin Flesh is very, very thin, pale paint. Just like this sort of thing. However, in addition, what we're going to do is on our yellow backpacks is going to add a little stripe of the Deepkin Flesh coming right down the middle of them. just like that sort of thing. And we do that on across all of them. So with that Deepkin Flesh applied, as you can see, what we're now going to do is move on to doing all of the highlights except the skin. We're going to do that last. We're going to do all of the generic highlights across all of them at once, then we'll do the skin, and then we'll do the Ironkin in that order. So the colour we're going to be using next is Sybarite Green. We're going to be using this to highlight all of our turquoise areas, well, our Kroxigor Scales and Terradon Turquoise areas. So we're just going to start picking it out. Just like this. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Gitz Yellow and we're going to apply this as a highlight to all of our yellow details. So with that Gitz Yellow all applied, we're then going to use some Russ Grey. We're going to use this to highlight all of our black details. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Bloodreaver Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our Cygor Brown leather. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down iron hand steel. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the silver details. So with that done, what we're now going to do is going to take some Canoptek Alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight our Runelord Brass sections. And so with that done, we're now going to take some Flesh Terror's Red and we're going to use this over the top of their little cybernetic eyes. Just like that. We've got two little diodes here on the back as well, like so. So with that Flesh Terror's Red applied to their cybernetic eyes, what we're going to do is we're going to take a teeny tiny amount of Black Legion. I'm going to use this over the top of their biological eyes. Like that. So with that Black Legion applied, we then take a teeny tiny amount of Screaming Skull. I'm going to add a dot of this. In each corner of their eyes, as well as picking out the teeth, like that. So with all of that done, it is now time to work on the flesh recipes. And the first one we're going to work on is the Guilliman Flesh one. So this guy. And well, this one's quite simple. What we're going to do is we're going to take some Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight him. I'm going to do this on his facial features and on his muscles as well. So with that Flayed One Flesh applied to this particular Cthonian Berserk, this one is finished. So we can pop that one to one side. So the next one we're going to work on is this gentleman. And we originally painted this one with the Fyreslayer Flesh and then shaded it with Reikland Fleshshade. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take some thinned down Cadian Fleshtone here. And we're going to use this to effectively relayer his muscles. Just avoiding anywhere where the shade has really settled. So with that Cadian Fleshtone applied, what we then do is we once again take some Flayed One Flesh and we're going to apply this as our highlight. Just like this. So with that done, this Cthonian Berserk is now finished. So we're going to pop him to one side. And we're going to pick up this one that we originally did with Gore-Grunta Fur. And we're going to highlight all of that skin using some Deathclaw Brown. So with that Deathclaw Brown applied, we've now finished off another Cthonian Berserk. It looks awesome. So we pop him to one side and we're going to pick up this individual. Now, the colour we're going to be using to highlight this one that we originally did with the Garaghak sewer is going to be some Baneblade Brown. And all we're going to do here is going to effectively do a little spot highlight. So we're just going to pick out the sharpest points. Like the eyebrow, the ear, the lips, bridge of the nose, and the knuckles. So that Baneblade Brown applied, we finished another Cthonian Berserk, and in much the same way as what we've just done there, we're going to, on our last one that we originally painted with the Catachan Flesh, is we're going to take some Knight-Questor Flesh. I'm going to use this to pick out the absolute sharpest details. So with that done, these 4 Cthonian Berserks are now finished. They look absolutely fantastic. Farewell. However, what we're going to do is we're going to put them to one side because now we have to finish off the last bits on the mole grenade launchers. We've got that Ironkin assistant just there, and we've also got the 2 mole grenades as well, although they will take no time at all. So we're going to start with that Ironkin, and you've seen all of this stuff before, but I'm going to show you the order of operations as promised. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Kroxigor Scales. I'm going to apply this over the top of the Ironkin's trousers. We just need to figure out where they start, or where we want to start. I'm just going to do it right in there. Just whilst we're waiting for that Kroxigor Scales to dry, we're going to grab that Briar Queen Chill. I'm going to apply this over the top of the Ironkin's body. So with that Briar Queen Chill applied, we then take that Terradon Turquoise and we apply this over the top of our Kroxigor Scales. So with that Terradon Turquoise applied, we then take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this to all of our leather details. So with that Cygor Brown all applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to paint this over the top of our black details, which is going to be these thigh and knee pads. As well as his gloves. And those same black details that we have on all of our other hammers. So this bit, as well as this bit and this bit. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red. I'm going to use this to paint in the grip on the hammer, as well as that little cable up here. And we're also going to use this to paint in the grip on the shovel on the Ironkin's backpack, which is just here. And so with that done, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. We're going to apply this to pretty much all the remaining details. However, we are once again going to leave those same details on the hammers that we didn't do in the Iron Warriors, we did with the Runelord Brass. No prizes for guessing what the next colour is going to be after this. But what we're also going to do at this point is we're going to take our little mole grenades and we're going to paint Iron Warriors over the top of them. So just in there like that. In there like that. Same thing again on that side. And just there. Like that. Yes, you guessed it. Next up, we're going to be using some Runelord Brass. I'm going to be painting this over the top of those remaining details. So we've got the dome here. And we have those remaining areas on the hammer. So with that done, we're now going to add the same shades to our Ironkin Assistant, and that is going to start off with Drakenhof Nightshade. I'm going to apply this over the top of the silver and the black. And with that done, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this over the top of the Runelord Brass. So with that done, our Ironkin is nearly at that battle ready stage. However, what we are going to do is we are going to take some thinned down Deepkin Flesh, and much like we did on our pale armored Berserk, what we're going to do is we're going to relayer this Deepkin Flesh over the top of all of the armor. So with that done, our Ironkin Assistant is now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready. It's looking pretty awesome. However, to make it proper War Hipster battle ready and within the realms of my scheme, we need to do a stripe. Now, because we've done the sort of off-white of the Great Arthurian League, the way I'm going to tie this in is I'm going to use some Imperial Fist to add a little stripe going down the middle of each of the shoulders, just like this. Whereas if you're doing Great Arthurian League, you wouldn't have to do this part. This is just how I've been incorporating these kind of sergeants and advisors and gear from the Great Arthurian League into my new league. So with that done, our Ironkin Assistant is at a War Hipster battle ready for my League of Votann. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to add all the highlights. Now, we're not going to film all of them because we've already done all of them and they are exactly the same. We have Sybarite Green on the trousers, Russ Grey on all the black details, Iron Hand Steel on the silver, and we have Canoptek Alloy on all of the Runelord Brass, and we are going to be using Bloodreaver Flesh on all of the brown. However, the one consideration that we have to make here in terms of highlighting is when it comes to doing the Runelord Brass sections with the Canoptek Alloy, what we are going to do on the dome is we're just going to paint Canoptek Alloy all over the dome head like that, just avoiding where we've shaded the dome closest to the gorget. Just like that. So with that done, it's time to get on with the rest of those highlights. So with all of those highlights applied, our Ironkin is now finished, as are our Cthonian Beserks. We just have one last thing left to do, and that is our mole grenades. And all we have to do is take some, in my instance, take some Targor Rageshade and apply this all over the rocks, because this will fit with my basing scheme. And then all that remains is to do the bases. And so with the bases and the highlights on that Ironkin complete, the Cthonian Beserks are now finished, and I really like these guys. I think they are an absolute menace. I think they're probably one of the premier combat units in the entire game of Warhammer 40,000, which is really cool because I'm a big fan of combat. I can absolutely see some units or armies of 30 of these guys. Just an absolutely terrifying prospect, and they're a lot of fun to paint. I really enjoyed this one. Really cool little unit. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these amazing, wonderful people have done. And if you really like this video or you just want to shoot me some support, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.